Hello and welcome, family, to another special message from the Ancient Ones. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways, family, all your ways, and that you're moving into living life in your own narrative. Remember, your narrative is key. It's the vehicle, family, that will take you out of the Babylon matrix and into the new earth that is coming. Because if it's not part of your story, you can't experience it. And that's basically what the enemy of our soul did, is he shut down all our narratives so that we'd be literally in a mental prison, and by being in a mental prison, it would manifest physically. But those are stories for other days. Special shout out, family, to our Patreon family. Thank you so much for supporting us on that platform and actually sponsoring the show. We appreciate, love you so much. Definitely consider joining us there for as little as $2 a month. We do have extra programming on there, as well as books, etc., etc. Family, I just wanted to share a really powerful reminder with each and every one of you that you are not ordinary. You are not like everybody else. And so you cannot act like everybody else. From whom much is given, much is expected. I think you may have heard that ancestral quote. And the ancient ones wanted me to remind you, and they reminded me as well, that our wombs, my sisters, our wombs are stargates. They're not just wombs that recycle these humans. And not every African woman or melanated woman across the world has a stargate. But for you chosen ones, your womb is a stargate. And part of your mission, for you who resonate with this, was to bring in your nation into this reality. To birth a new nation, to birth a new world. That's what we're all here to do. It's almost like the beginning of the world, that have the beginning of the cycle, where all these different star nations come together, come into Mama Earth, and they all birth their nations with their different gifts and their different talents. And then we come together and create something quite magical. That's what the earth realm is all about. Bringing together all these different beings into this 3D reality, into these suits. And then through these suits, expressing the beauty, the uniqueness, the power, the magnificence of the cosmic nations that we come from. And that's actually what happened in the beginning. In the beginning. Is that different star families came together. Even the animal kingdom, the elephants, the dolphins, those ones that have that higher consciousness, they are not just animals, family. They also have a certain consciousness that they brought into this planet. And yet there are many animals that were just a manifestation of Mama Earth. A manifestation of this realm, of the creator of this realm. But the creator of this realm, who has never visited this realm, invited different cosmic families and cosmic nations to come in and add their color, add their flavor. I was thinking of a really silly example, but it's like when you're going to throw an epic party and you got the food, but you'll get someone else to get the entertainment sorted. You'll get someone else to do the drinks, guest list, set up the environment, the party spot, whatever. And then you'll invite all these people. I know it's such a silly example, family, but literally, we are in a new dispensation. And the way we're going to birth this new dispensation is not just like setting up what needs to be set up, but also birthing these new nations. And that's why a lot of the nations that have chosen to come in at this particular dispensation are actually warrior nations, if I could call that, warrior planets. It was of interest to come to here because of the kind of, to gain knowledge of the underworld. Because you see, every experience, family, goes into your DNA and it becomes information. There's experiences that our cosmic families have never had. We had to come to Earth to experience such darkness and such madness. But now we did. We got the codes, we got the keys, we got the experience, and now that goes into our library of information. Where for eternity, our universe, our worlds, our home, our cosmic family can go into the library and know about this race that tried to take over the world and what they were like, and what kind of, their narrative of narcissism and rape and all these things, and, stealing and killing and destroying, so that we could understand that spirit for real, for real. Because we've gotten that knowledge, we've graduated, family. There's a cleanup that's happening right now. But we are, and I feel like, I wouldn't even get into that, but there is a cleanup. There is a cleansing that is going on. But we are here to birth our new nations. And so knowing that you have your womb is a Stargate, family. You're not recycling the humans here. And that's why they've always paid attention to you. Because you have the power to bring in gods of another world. You have you have the power to bring in beings that they don't even understand and understand. Gods can even come and impregnate you from other worlds, but those are stories for other days. Virgin births. I mean, that story is not a lie, family. Like, what is happening is it's a military operation, even for us. And men, you also need to realize, like, your sperm has codes, powerful codes for great beings of your nation. And that's why we even saw China the other day. I know a lot of you wanted to talk about it. Well, I'm talking about it now, I guess. That's why some of you the other day had emailed me about how, I think 7,000 African penises were caught in, on their way to China or something like that. What do you think that's about? It's because of the codes. And they use that to, to take certain keys and gifts. The gifts may be as simple as being taller, being stronger, living longer. And just like we have stargates for our cosmic nations. And by the way, not every woman, let me reiterate, not every African woman has a stargate for the gods. Let me just put it like that. And just like we can bring in the greatest, the creators, the enemies of our souls also have women who have stargates. Like, when you look at the stories of the Elon Musks of this world, family, and the kind of, even there was a woman who used to have a YouTube channel called Moon, who had been a big part of his upbringing and all this stuff. They have stargates where they bring their best and their brightest and their, lowest. And we have gates where we do the same. And that's why the reason they promoted promiscuity and now they're promoting interracial relationships is because they want to, first of all, scatter the stargates or misuse the stargates. But there's certain codes. That's why we have, what they call divine counterparts or twin flames. It's not all this romancy stuff, family. It's about two people coming from the same cosmic nation or two different cosmic nations coming into agreement so that they can manifest a combination of their greatness into Mama Earth and see how that works in terms of partnership and what comes out, what manifests from that. What manifests when two creators come together from two totally different worlds? Maybe a water nation will decide to intermingle with a fire nation. How do you think some of us became avatars? Where your water, your fire, your air, and your earth. You have all the nations in you. It's because all the nations are literally in you. I mean, it's so much deeper, family. And the only reason I'm sharing this is to just remind you to really be extremely particular about who you're sleeping with, literally. And a lot of the pain and sorrow that we see sometimes, like with miscarriages, some miscarriages, family, are spiritual because you're just not supposed to. You're a Stargate, and your ancestors don't want that, the other being even being connected to your line or even having access to your world. Having a piece of your world where now their bloodline through you has a gate to go back. Because a gate swings both ways. Hey, that's a whole other level. And men, it's like you will never have your ultimate, how do I put this? It's like your sperm has all these, all the blueprints, all the codes to bring in some big dogs, can I say that? Some big gods. But only if you connect with the right divine counterpart. And because this world is a flow, it's fluid. Agreements can also be made while you're here between ancestors. Let me just put it like that. But family, I found that a lot of the real chosen ones, the elite chosen ones, I told you all chosen ones aren't the same. They've been on this celibacy journey, especially since their awakening and since their healing. Because sex is not a joke thing. That's a Stargate. You can bring in gods or you can bring in demons. And what is happening, family, is that with that spirit of promiscuity that was brought here, you see, everything Babylon has done has never been about the cultural wave and what's popular and, what's the latest this or just natural trends. Because if you notice, we kind of recycle old trends, so we're in a loop. But the reason they promoted this sexual freedom and everything was in order to kind of scramble the stargates, try and use the stargates to bring in their own beings, hoping there'll be some connection. Because if your being comes through the stargate of a woman, you have access to her world. I don't know this. I don't even know. This is, wow, the ancient ones are going, real deep on this one. So that's why, and not so much our world as our library. But what I feel, family, is like, especially now when we're in the season of the great return of the gods and goddesses, of whom we are as well, that you can lose your right, your stargate can be shut down. Men, you can lose, your codes can be also shut down, because there's certain vibrations also. They've put like, how do I say this? They've put safety measures in place, family. And before we came here, as I always say, we chose this life. A lot of us actually mapped out our lives from birth to ascension. Death is an illusion. And in mapping out our lives, there are major events that we took, but some of the things that we told our spiritual team is, if somehow in this system my free will takes me to connect with a lower vibing being, shut my Stargate down. Either don't let that entity through, don't let me have that child, or even shut the Stargate. And that's why also, family, there's so much like pedophilia and child sex. It's all to mess with the Stargates. It's all to try and steal for the young boys out there. It's all to try and steal their codes, the special codes they're coming in with. But our ancestors ain't idiots. Our cosmic family ain't idiots. They're geniuses. So best believe that gold ain't going to everybody. And what I've found is, like, especially for the super elite that are bringing in the return of these gods, the super elite chosen ones, you've literally been kept from relationships. You've literally been, it's literally like there's like a gate around you. Let me know if this is your experience. Where after you activate it, because you see, the awakening is like you awaken to a certain narrative and then you're activated. Then you awaken to another narrative, then you're activated, and so on and so forth. And so when you reached a certain level of activation, it's like all of a sudden now, like a barrier went up around you. And you're probably beautiful, you're probably gorgeous, but it's like your spiritual team is just keeping, others away from you. So we have to also do our part and recognize that we're Stargates. Recognize as men that we carry certain codes. So be responsible on who you sleep with. It's not even just Mzungu or melanated, because be even responsible for the melanated, because there's different kingdoms here. We also have some super low melanated kingdoms. They're not all from the same place. There's low vibing melanated nations, just like there's high vibing melanated nations. So be particular about who you're interacting with on an intimate level. And really, family, with where some of you have reached, confirm and reconfirm with your spiritual team. I have even made it a point to tell my spiritual team, please block anyone who is trying to come at me sexually, romantically, who is not for me, because I'm on a mission and I don't want to have to come back to do it again. I want to do it once and get it over with. Block anyone and lead it. Make it so clear when I meet my divine counterpart. Make it so clear that I can't miss it. But I don't want the flirtations. I don't want the, oh, let's go on a date, let's do that. No. I've made the choice. No. We're not here for all that. And maybe some of you are, and if you are, this is not your message. There is a specific group that I'm speaking of, and you know yourselves, where you are here on such a divine mission to bring in a certain bloodline that will be able to live in the high vibe new earth that we're now manifesting. Because a lot of the low vibing nations and low vibing people just won't be able to exist on the new earth just because of how hot it will be, literally. how high the vibrations will be, the kind of interactions that will be going on. So please, family, this is the one thing that can take, that can rob you of your inheritance, if you want to call it that. There are some of us who are supposed to be bringing in messiahs, please, family. And that's why Stargates was shut down. Anyway, I think I've gone. Let me take a short break. We'll be right back. Unity communities. Wake up, Africa. Welcome back, family, to a special message from the Ancient Ones. I guess this is going to be a bit of a long one. And I was talking about something so important. Women, your womb is a stargate. Men, you are literally, the way we say gods and goddesses, it's not a joke. Some of you are literally walking gods. You carry so much power and information in your sperm that is supposed to birth new creators, new messiahs, bring in a whole new dispensation from your cosmic planet. And that's why a lot of, not every woman can activate the codes that you're coming in with, the information that you're coming in with. Not every woman can translate and manifest that. So it's like a lock and a key, literally, if I could put it like that. And it is just very critical, family, because, this information is not going to, there's no power information that you will bring in without the right lock or without the right key. So you can lay with anybody and bring in a child, and they may be slightly gifted, from your own DNA. They may have gifts, but if you're psychic, they may be psychic. But if you really want to activate your Stargate, then you need to get together with your divine counterpart. And that's what will activate the Stargate. And also, just, if you look deeper into Tantra, that's also what will manifest our new earth on this reality much faster. But it needs the right man and the right woman coming together. And men, sometimes, the power you're transferring to a woman is too heavy. She may not even be able to carry that child. That's why there's things like miscarriages, family. And especially now that you guys are getting activated on higher and higher levels, it's really time to not only move with discernment, but call in your counterpart so that we can start changing reality. Because Babylon is using a lot of lower level. They always try and copy us. That's the thing. It's so annoying. And then they get it all wrong. They try and copy us with their elemental magic and all this stuff. Because all they have access to is here. But some of us have access to much more beyond this realm, and that's what scares them about us. But sex magic is what is ruling the world right now. That's the foundation. That's what's rooting the world. That's what's holding the world in this lower vibing reality, in this lower vibing existence. Because it's one of the expressions of, it's supposed to be one of the expressions of love. But it can also be, right now it's being used as one of the expressions of hate, literally. And you see, even before, like once you start activating, there's so much that needs to be cleared from your system for your Stargate to be fully operational. And it's not all just about having sex and whatever. Your Stargate can also bring in new things for you, family. That's why a lot of the psychics are women. Because the Stargate also is a channel of information, of power, of energy, of healing. That's why our ancient ones used to go and sit on the ground when they were having their menstrual cycle and kind of feed their menstruation, their menstruation blood back to the earth, because it literally had the power of creation in it. The power to heal, the power to restore, the power to transform. And I know our ancient ones didn't even have periods. That's a whole other story, family. When we were not in this fallen world, that's a whole other story. I mean, if I could even, I don't even want to, okay, I don't want to go too deep into it, just so I don't mislead anyone. Our ancient ones started giving, when with the menstrual cycle, it would be like the stargate is open, whatever. And they actually, women are the most powerful when they're having their menstrual cycle. But because when we fell or whatever, it's like that creative thing fell away, and the nature and the earth could not replenish herself the way she used to. It's almost like we were put in a dome and cut off from creation, like cut off from creation and whatever. So all we had to work with was what was here. But every month, those that had stargates back then, it was such a sacred time, because that time is the only time they could get the healing, the restoration, the replenishing from their cosmic family. It was the only time they would get that creative source to replenish the trees and the life around them. That's why women, during their menstruation, they used to go to a separate location. And there's all thing about like how high level high priestesses are on a totally different cycle from just the normal women. It was all because this was a time when so much information and downloads and everything was happening. And this was like the only time that we had to connect to where we were from. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, if it doesn't resonate, then this is definitely not for you. And don't worry about it. Keep it moving. I'm also being stretched, family, by these messages from the ancient ones, because it's like, whoa, there's so much information there. And remember, these are just to act as keys or as confirmation to what has already been revealed to you, or to act as like a light bulb moment where a certain memory is just put online, like, oh, okay. And so knowing that you are a god or a goddess, and this isn't everyone, family, please, with a stargate, ask that you may be connected to the highest version of yourself in this time, and your divine counterpart at his highest version or her highest version of herself, so that we can start to bring in these gods and goddesses who are much needed here, and so that we can continue to bring in this really powerful information. There's a lot to be said about Tantra and tantric sex and the role that will play in creating this new world. There's so much more I could say about this family. But let me leave it there, because I'm just going deeper and deeper into the rabbit hole. But let me leave it there and just remind you, you are special. You carry a stargate. You carry a portal, family. You are a living portal as a woman. And to my brothers out there, you carry codes Some are not even here anymore. You're reintroducing them. Some Superman capabilities were shut down. We shut them down, and now it's time to reintroduce them. Capabilities that would have been abused by the enemy. And that's what they're looking for when they go and collect 7,000 penises and stuff. They're looking for those Superman, superhuman, heroes kind of gifts. That's what they're looking for. And you have it. And they're hoping that by you sleeping with their nations, you'll transfer that to them. But that's been shut down. We're not doing that anymore. And if they were to get that information, they're so low vibing, they wouldn't even get it. They're so low. It's beyond even their realm of comprehension. But just know, family, that part of your mission may just be to bring in your bloodline, to bring in your cosmic nation, so that your people also get to participate in the rebuilding of Mama Earth, in this new Earth reality, in this new narrative, in this new book of life, however you want to put it. And as we transition through, the transition is always like a warring time. And it's not about physical war, it's an energetic war where there's a new energy coming in and there's a low energy that's resisting. And in this case, they're using the group consciousness to resist that high energy by deceiving the group consciousness. And lying and limiting the group consciousness, you almost make it, you're trying to block them from accessing and being able to even assimilate this new information, this new energy, this new vibration. So a lot of warrior nations are here, as I mentioned earlier, because they're interested. This is the kind of information that peoples need. Their nations need. This is the information they want in their cosmic libraries. And this could go way deeper, family. Because you see, okay, I'll say this and that's it, seriously. There was a time, maybe in your chosen one's life, where you may have slept around. And what was happening then was like you were gathering information of different nations. But that season and time is over. And this is not a judgment thing. This is not a religious thing. Maybe you were dabbling in other nations, seeing what other nations tasted like. But now, family, this is when the mission is activated now. We have reached a certain level where that's no longer the story. We're now in our narrative where we're taking charge. And we have to birth this nation and then have descendants who will continue to implement the plan. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Until next time. Tuko pamoja. Looking for a conscious community or for people, who are on their awakening journey, on their transition to an off-grid living in your country, well, we have the solution, family. We're calling it Unity Communities. We get so many emails every week from people who ask if I know of people in their region or people in their city or people in their town who are on a similar kind of journey, who have broken away or are breaking away from the religious psychosis, and they're looking for just people who think the same way in their town, in their city. But more importantly, to give us a community where we feel understood, understood, overstood, where we can bond with people of like mind. And if you feel called to be part of this, definitely email me at drmumbi@drmumbishow.com. Please put your country in the subject line with Unity Communities. Get in touch with me, Dr. Mumbi at drmumbishow.com. Unity Communities.